telling us Patrick Mahomes has a good chance to play Week 1. How about Parsons?
Not as much so here, Greeny. In fact, the feeling within the organization has been that Parsons would miss the early part of the season and be back early on. He'll be a candidate to be placed on the physically unable to perform list. You've heard 3 to 4 games potentially missed. But again, we are still 4 or 5 months away from the time the season starts. There's time for him to recover, time for him to get back. But it certainly feels like the tone has been and the expectation has been that Parsons will miss some time to start the season.
I mean, they did not win a game, inclusive of the game in which he got hurt. They didn't ever win again. That defense went from being unstoppable to very much stoppable. They gave up that huge lead in a playoff loss to the Bears. So, again, losing 4 straight without Micah Parsons. So, again, Nick, it's one of those where we'll look at the schedule, see how many of their division games they get early. We expect that to be a very competitive division as we sort of spin it to what it is. What do you think of the Packers if they're without Parsons when the season begins?
Yeah, it's definitely going to hurt. I think that they're good enough to win some games, despite the fact that they didn't last year without him. They're good enough to stay afloat without him, I believe. But the question is, what is he going to be when he comes back? Because he was a game wrecker. He made that defense top of the league valuable. So I think if he comes back at that value or that level, that's really impressive. But I also think that you have to be aware of Tucker Kraft. It's kind of their best offensive weapon. How good is he going to be when he comes back? This team, I think, has Super Bowl aspirations, but we need to see some of these talented players come back and see the version of them that we're going to receive, how much impact they're going to have on the team.
Do you think the Green Bay offense is good enough to carry the Green Bay defense for however long Micah Parsons isn't able to get it going?
I think if Tucker Kraft come back healthy, that will be huge for them and the development of some of their younger wide receivers who, expect to take a step forward.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They have the talent to do that, but we can't minimize the Micah Parsons thing. I mean, that's a huge blow if he's not able to come back early.
They are expecting Tucker Kraft back for the start of the season.
Yeah.
They don't sound as optimistic for the early part of the season on Micah Parsons, and we'll see how it all shakes out.
So, again, the symmetry. That's just something about it I kind of like. Today's May 14th, scheduled tonight. 5 months to the day from when those injuries took place. 4 months from today is when the Chiefs will be on the field for that Monday night game. We'll see what happens. Back to a little. We are just under 12 hours away from the schedules being released. And so let's talk about some of the matchups we're looking forward to seeing. Shefty, what is a matchup that you were looking to see tonight where they wind up placing it?
The Steelers and the Ravens, Greeny, for the first time since Christmas Eve of 2006. The Ravens and Steelers will meet in a game in which Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh will not be coaching. It'll be Jesse Minter, it'll be Mike McCarthy, it'll be the new-look Ravens versus the new-look Steelers. Tomlin, Harbaugh, who we've known in this rivalry for about 20 years, are both gone. It takes on a different meaning when the Ravens and Steelers play this season.
That's a good one. Damien Woody, what are you looking forward to tonight? What's a matchup you're looking to see?
Yeah, our graphic is off right here, but I'm going with Cincinnati and Baltimore. Listen, Cincinnati is that rebuilt defense, obviously the big trade for Dexter Lawrence, and we talk about Joe Burrow. Like the sense of urgency in Cincinnati, you feel like it's been turned up with all the moves that they've made, particularly on the defensive side of football. Like, this is a big year for the Cincinnati Bengals.
That's a lot of AFC North early. Dominique Foxworth, what's a matchup you're looking to see?
Yeah, I want to see Vikings-Bears. These are two teams that I think could have playoff and Super Bowl potential in that very tough division. I want to see how much better the Vikings offense can be with Kyler Murray. They played well last year, despite the fact that they had led the league with 30 turnovers. And for the Bears, I think it's going to be pretty heavily relying on their offense also carrying the day with that running attack. Their defense didn't get that much better with offseason additions. They did add Thieneman in the draft, but I'm looking forward to see these teams face off because I think they both probably have Super Bowl aspirations.
We'll talk about the Bears a little bit later. I'm interested to hear, I'll start with you, Nick, quickly. Yesterday, Bart Scott was very, very high on Kyler Murray. He was suggesting he thinks Murray is going to be great in that offense, going to unlock some of those weapons that they struggled to get done last year with the good coaching and Justin Jefferson. He thinks that this is going to be a reclamation season for Kyler Murray. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I think that team last year, they got 9 wins despite the fact that they had some really poor quarterback play and went through 3 different quarterbacks. I think Kyler Murray is exceedingly talented. I think if you could simplify the offense a little bit for him because they have so much talent at the receiver position and at tight end, I think he's going to be incredible. Then you add his athleticism onto it. This offense has a chance to be one of the best in football if Kyler Murray can reach the peaks that we've seen him reach before and sustain them for a whole season. That's the question. That's the thing we haven't really seen him do is sustain that high level of play for an entire season. And I think with KOC, he might be able to do that.
Is he the next Baker Mayfield, the next Sam Darnold? We'll be talking about Kyler Murray that way after this year?
He's going to have an opportunity. I think that one of the underrated aspects that I think Kyler Murray is going to bring is his ability to enhance the Vikings' rushing attack. KOC hasn't had a quarterback like Kyler Murray as far as the athletic ability. He's going to enhance that aspect, which is going to make everyone else on that offense even better.
Real quickly, I'm short on time here. Is he going to be the starter? I mean, we're talking about him like he's already got that job.
I think that's the feeling around the league that he's expected to be the guy. But again, I'm not ready to write off J.J. McCarthy just yet. We may be a bit early on it. It certainly feels like it's tracking that way. But J.J. McCarthy will have something to say about it this summer.
Yeah, we're going to dive into a lot more on the Bears side of this as we continue. Meanwhile, coming up, LeBron's Patrick Mahomes. It's 5 months today to the day that he suffered his injury to his knee. That was December 14th. 4 months from today, September 14th, the Chiefs will open on Monday Night Football at home. Will Patrick Mahomes be playing in that game?
Greeny, the Chiefs have said he is, quote-unquote, way ahead of schedule. You would never bet against Patrick Mahomes, and the NFL certainly hasn't. The league has scheduled the Chiefs for the opening Monday night game of the year. The league doesn't do that unless they think that there's a realistic chance that Patrick Mahomes is going to be back. And I think the feeling is right now, you have to see how the knee is progressing during the course of the summer. But the feeling right now within the organization is that he is tracking to be ready for that Monday night game against Bo Nix, who's coming off his own surgeries on his ankle, and the Denver Broncos in Kansas City.
The Broncos, the team that won the division a year ago. And I think it's so schedule release day is 2 things. First off, it's fun for all of us who are fans. You see where your teams are going to be playing and all that. So that's the most important part. But there are little pieces of information that you can glean. And one of them is, when are all the division games stacked up? So right away for the Chiefs, let's say Mahomes can't play. That's a terrible time for them to be playing Denver, the defending division champs. Let's say Mahomes can play, but he's working his way back in slowly. Let's see if they have a few more. Is their Charger game early? These are the things we watch for early, because what do you expect from the Chiefs with Mahomes? Again, he will be, if he is able to make it back, it will be 9 months to the day that he tore up the knee.
Well, I think the biggest thing for me, what I'm curious about is what style of offense they're going to be running, early on in the season.
What do you think?
Listen, I think they got to be more dependent on the running game. We talked about that last year. We've actually talked about it a couple years now. I think Andy Reid's inability to really stick with the running game. You go out there and get Kenneth Walker. You sign him, from a Super Bowl chance to a big deal. He's got to factor into this. He's got to create explosive plays in the running game, because that's something that's been missing from the Kansas City Chiefs offense.
D-Wood, if I had a dime for every time that we have sat up here and said the Chiefs need to run the ball, they need to commit to the running game, I would be a very rich man if that had happened. Yeah. Do you expect it to happen now?
I would expect if there's not a better time for that to happen than now, because your quarterback is coming off of ACL. I think part of Patrick Mahomes got this injury is so many times he's put on his cape to try to save the Kansas City Chiefs, and now you're in this predicament as a Chiefs fan.
100%, and they drafted all defense, which I guess they needed.
Right.
But I don't know how much better they got on the other side of the ball. Yes.
And they also hired Eric Bieniemy, who we know is going to want to run the football as the new offensive coordinator there in Kansas City. Change in philosophy, change in offensive scheme. And I would think it's going to translate into more running.
Do you think so, Nick? Do you think we will see the Chiefs with more balance in their offense this year, particularly early while Mahomes works his way back in?
Absolutely. I hope so. And I think that if we look at the age of this roster and the talent of this roster, it's not as good as it's been in the past. So I think the ability to run the ball and run the clock and get to the end of the game where Mahomes is at his best, I think that serves this team well. Getting into this, trying to chase the shootout version of the Chiefs, trying to recreate that, I think is a mistake that they have kind of fallen into that trap year after year. We have to accept that this team is different.
All right, so once again, that injury took place on December 14th. So did the injury to Micah Parsons. 2 enormous NFL stars both went down on the same day. Schefter, your